Welcome to Bleav in Clemson Football with Levon Kirkland. I am Will Vandervort. Thanks for being with us. We're glad to be back. We took last week off because the guy sitting there would be to my right of the screen as I'm looking at it. The left of your screen, I guess. I don't know, however people are looking at it on TV on and stuff. But Levon Kirkland just received his master's degree. Did that last week. That's why we couldn't have the podcast, because he was getting his master's degree. Levon, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much. It was definitely an honor. It was something that I've been working on for at least a year, well, maybe almost 2 years now. But man, it was such a relief to get that hood on. It was so cool. Something I've been wanting to do forever. So to finally get it done, man, I got a little pep in my step now,
As you should, man. I mean, hey, look, I admire you because this guy's not going back to school. No, when I finished, I was done. Like, no way, and you know what, that I'm going to ever go back to sit in a classroom or do anything online or anything like that. So, man, props to you, dude. That's amazing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of courage, too, when you get older in life to go back to school, because it is harder. And it does, and you do have other things going on in your life, like families and work and stuff like that. And so it's not as easy as it is when we're younger, man. So it takes a lot of courage to go back to school and get your master's degree. And, man, I'm just so proud of you, man. I've been telling everybody all week long. I'm like, everybody's like, why wouldn't you have a podcast? I said, because my boy Levon, he graduated from his guy's master's degree, man. I was like,
it was going to be a little difficult to do the podcast from Arizona, and I had all this other stuff that I had to get done. So although I miss everybody from last week, man, it was a glorious occasion to get my master's degree. It's well worth it. And I know I'm at a middle age right now at 54, but I would tell anybody it's never too late, even for you, Will, that don't want to go back to school. If you want to go back, if you have a dream that you want to conquer it. Mm-hmm. You got to do the work. That's for sure. No question.
Well, you did it, man. Congratulations, and we're all proud of you. And not only, just proud of you as a friend and all that, but I know Clemson Nation and Steeler Nation is proud of you and for going back and doing that. So it's pretty cool, man. And congrats to you. And look forward to see. I know you already do a lot of motivation speaking, and you talk to the young people around the state of South Carolina and around the country with different things. So this is awesome. You're going to kind of take your degree and use it for that platform. And so it's really cool, man, that you're doing that.
Matter of fact, I did a speech with Lamar High School Silver Foxes today, my old stomping ground, my old high school, man. It was really neat to see. They're doing pretty well. They're going to the playoffs next week. I actually have two great nephews that played on the team, man. I'm so proud of those guys, man. They're doing such a great job. So it was cool. It is always good to give back. I see myself as a servant leader, giving back to student athletes. That's something that I've always been very passionate about. And I really feel that now I can take this degree and make sure that student athletes have a better way to go as they go through, and give them that advice, educate, empower, and encourage them.
Yeah, man. And it's super cool that you're doing that, and it's super cool that all the people are already on and listening to us. And so we want to say we appreciate that. We appreciate you guys being with us. We appreciate our sponsors for allowing us to be able to do this. And that, of course, starts with betonline.ag. We appreciate them. They've been with us from the beginning. Also, we want to thank the Clemson Insider for allowing us to use their platform so we can do our podcast live each and every Tuesday at 6:15, and also on Facebook, their Facebook platform as well. So we appreciate the Clemson Insider, the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting news. So go by and check out our stuff at theclemsoninsider.com. Also, we want to say thank you to Tip It Back Sports Grill in Greenville. That's the place to be to watch all your college football action this season. Also, college basketball starting up here soon. Mm-hmm. You can watch that. The NBA starts tonight as well. So go over to Tip It Back Sports Grill, located at 215 Pelham Road in Greenville, South Carolina. Again, appreciate all you guys joining us tonight. So obviously we're going to talk about what none of us want to talk about, but we have to talk about it. Yes. And it's probably going to get a little mad here because you know me, Levon, I'm very emotional. So we're going to talk about Clemson's 28-20 loss to Miami. We'll review that, talk about some things we saw, we didn't like, what we did like. We'll kind of look ahead to the NCAA game, kind of preview that into a little bit of the future as well with the Tigers and what may be happening going down the road. We're going to do our pick six each, like we do each week. Where Levon and I will pick what we think will happen. We're going to go against the spread on that. So we got all that stuff coming up. But before we do that, again, I want to thank our sponsors for helping us out each week and being with us. And I want to start off that with BetOnline, betonline.ag. This is the last of the major sports league kickoffs this week, and BetOnline is the top spot for all your NBA action this season. As I mentioned, the NBA season begins tonight. So you can go over to betonline.com, betonline.ag and check it out. We also have with the Major League Baseball postseason now, as you know, we got a game tonight between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks that'll try to wrap up that NLCS. You got the NFL and college football going on. The NHL is already in full swing. So BetOnline is your number one source for all your wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with the desktop and mobile access for every spot, anytime. So head on over to BetOnline today and get in on all the action. Don't forget to use our promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, Bleav, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Again, that's BLEAV, Bleav, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. As I mentioned, also, we want to thank Tip It Back Sports Grill, 215 Pelham Road in Greenville, South Carolina. As I said earlier, it's the place to be this football season. If it's college football you want, Tip It Back Sports has all the biggest games from around the country on their mini TVs, including Clemson games, South Carolina games, and all the games from the ACC and the SEC. If it's the NFL you want, Tip It Back Sports has all of the Sunday games, and they are your home for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, that's right. The Pittsburgh Steelers, me and Levon, both big, huge Steelers fans. Levon, of course, played for the Steelers and is the guy when you say number 99 in Pittsburgh. Everybody will tell you that. So Tip It Back Sports Grill is located at the Commons at Pelham and is open 7 days a week. On Monday, it's Twisted Trivia Night, as well as Monday Night Football. They also have karaoke and live music going on throughout the week. Every Saturday, of course, is dedicated to college football, and Sundays are designed for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the NFL. So come on out and see Tim Seco and his staff at Tip It Back Sports Grill, located at the Commons at Pelham. Tip It Back Sports Grill is the place to be for all your college and NFL action this season. And then also like to thank the Clemson Insider, Robert McCray, and the crew over there, including myself, I guess, for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting news. Levon, we got a lot to talk about over there. I've written a couple columns already. I know some people on here agree with my column. Some people on here don't like my column. But I wrote it how I felt, and what I saw and what I've been seeing all season long. And, it doesn't shine a bright light on Clemson football right now. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to be honest with you. And, my opinions, I have it for a reason. And I do this job, been doing it for a long time. And, I'm going to tell you in a, objective way how I view the season and this team right now. And, and right now, Levon, they're not very good. I'm just going to be honest. Not a very good football team after coming off that 28-20 loss to Miami. And when you continuously have the same problems in week 7 that you had in week 1, you're not a good football team. You are who you are, and that's where Clemson is right now.
Yeah, the record really reflects where the Clemson Tigers are at this time, and is 4-3 and is not really good as far as the ACC standings are concerned. And I think you're right, Will. You have to just be straight up and say that this team keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's disheartening as a football fan to watch those kind of mistakes come up every time, especially in crucial situations. You drive the ball all the way down the field. You're going into the end zone. Number one thing is always to protect the ball. You fumble the ball. It takes away a score. That probably, you score there, really, it probably takes care of Miami. Then not only that, you get on defense and they bust a big, gigantic run. Now, I give Wiggins a lot of credit for running the guy down, making him fumble, but they get the ball. So it's kind of been that kind of Jekyll and Hyde football team that you
It's a
see.
14-point swing.
You see some great things. You see some things that are good, and it's like, yeah, okay. And then you see Clemson just stepping all over their own toes, shooting themselves in the foot, hitting themselves beside on the head. And as a Clemson fan for forever, and you watching this for the product that we put out there from the past product we have put out there, yeah, it's not good. It really isn't.
Yeah. When we look at this game, as I broke it down, if you look at the 2 fumbles in the first half, that's really where the game the game wasn't totally lost there, but in a way it was, and this is why I say that. The first fumble you mentioned, you're going in for the touchdown, 7-0. He clearly fumbles the ball before he crosses the goal line. It's clearly out. The ball's recovered in the end zone. Next play, they go 80 yards for the touchdown. That's a 14-point swing right there. Okay,
Right.
So it's 7-0 Miami, and it should have been 7-0 Clemson.
Sure.
Miami did nothing the rest of the first half or third quarter. Nothing.
Right.
Didn't do anything. Clemson scored 17 points after that, built a 17-7 lead. But if we take those 17 points, and let's just say, and also in that first half was a fumble by Klubnik when they're driving, and worst case scenario, they get a field goal there. Instead, he gets stripped when he's running the ball, fumbles, they recover, and another big turnover kills a Clemson drive and a possible points there. So that's 10 points possibly for Clemson. That's a 17-point differential in swing of points, okay? So, they don't score anything on that, but you lost 3. So you lost at least 3. Well, Levon, you don't have to be a genius to do the math, okay? If you lost 10 points that you should have scored, you went on to go score 17 unanswered after that. Clemson should have gone into the fourth quarter with a 27-0 lead on Miami. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what Miami does in the fourth quarter. They could run the ball out all they want and go on a 9-10 minute drive. Right. But because the offense put the team in that situation in the first half, now, granted, they came back and they took care of business and they got the lead and they're up 17-7, and then something happened that I've never seen happen in the Dabo Swinney era. Clemson lost a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that's what was surprising to me, was the fact that after all what happened in the first half, you're able to come over it, take the lead, grab control of the game, and then your defense gives it right back to them with a 15-play, 9-minute drive. Now, this is right after Clemson had a touchdown. This drive happened right, so you can't blame. I heard some people blaming this on the Clemson offense for going 3 and out and not getting. No. That 15-play, 9-minute drive was on the defense because it came right after a Clemson touchdown.
And what do we always talk about?
And they had two long third downs that they could have got off the field, and they didn't get it done.
What's one of the things that we always talk about that is a hidden stat that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but we do? It's called the momentum series. Yep. After you score a touchdown, as a defense, you cannot allow a team to even get across the 50. It has to be they get no points to allow the momentum to continue on your side.
Exactly.
The game is complementary. We play complementary defense. You play complementary offense. We play great special teams, and we normally will win the football game. When you don't do that, when you give up a touchdown right after your offense just scored a touchdown, you're giving the momentum back to the team.
Exactly.
And that's something that you need to always emphasize to your team. And I think a lot of things that if you don't emphasize them, you allow them to happen. If you don't emphasize taking care of the ball, not even saying the words fumbling the ball, but taking care of the ball, making sure you don't get turnovers, especially when you're on the 1-yard line. Or you don't give them a chance to score a touchdown after you just scored a touchdown yourself.
Mm-hmm.
15-play drive. You know how hard it is normally for an offense to drive the ball 15 plays or anything above 10, it's tough. Normally they mess up. Normally it's a penalty, and it usually ends up disastrous for the offense. We allow them to line up and run the ball directly downtown in the middle, and we did nothing to adjust to it. Nothing. They just simply said, "Hey, we're gonna line up. We're just gonna run the ball. Get in a bear front. Something. Do something."
That's what I said.
Line and say, "Okay, since they're gonna do this, every time they get in this formation, we're just gonna get in."
And what front was Miami in, Levon?
I think there was a bear front.
They were in a bear front. And how many rushing yards did Clemson have?
Nothing. Because it's almost impossible to run the ball against a bear front. And what we mean by that is you got somebody who's going to be covering the center, head up on the center, and also on the guards. And then also outside the tackle or the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Now your holes are basically, you may have a little bit of the C hole, but you don't have the A's and the B holes, which they have. Which the A hole is normally between the center and the guard, and the B holes are between the guards
and the tackle.
Sorry, the tackle, guard and tackle. Sorry.
Yep. And the B gap was open the whole time.
The B gap was open the whole time, and we just kind of sat in our regular defense, and it was just 101. It was just kind of like they were doubling down, coming off on the linebackers, and we didn't do a really good job of stopping that at all. But I thought, like, surely if they're gonna be simple and run the ball like this, hey, let's be simple as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get in this bear front and make sure they can't run the ball. That's why you always have a short yardage package, or a package that's really designed like a jumbo, just like an offense would bring in a jumbo package to get that 1 or 2 yard. You had to also counter that with bringing in a package that's for short yardage, or a team that's trying to run the ball downtown like they were trying to run the ball.
Exactly. And the thing that I just didn't really understand was the fact that they had a freshman quarterback, because Van Dyke wasn't playing in the game. He got injured last week against North Carolina. So you had a freshman quarterback who was very slow-footed. I mean, very slow-footed. And you didn't bring pressure to him at all. Now, I know he was doing some quick passing game and stuff like that, and that wasn't working. So let them do that. Like, bring pressure and just play man-to-man defense on the outside. If they beat you with a big play, then so be it, right? Then you tip your hat to them. Don't let them sit there and just take your manhood away from you and go on 15-play drives. I didn't understand why West didn't call timeout, gather the troops, and that's where I'm just going to be honest with you. If that was Brent Venables, that wasn't happening. That was an inexperienced coordinator not just messing up in the situation. There's where the inexperience of Wes Goodwin showed the other night, because he wasn't able to adjust. And it was huge, because it really changed the momentum of the game.
Yeah, I was kind of puzzled with that as well. I really was.
Bring the safeties up. The safeties kept backing off. I'm like, what are you doing?
Bring the safeties up. I'm telling you, I was thinking, like, just go to a bear front.
Yep, I was saying the same thing.
I was just like, just go to a bear front. Bring in big versus big. And if you do that, you minimize what they're trying to do. They got to get away from it. But as long as you just sit there in a regular defense, a regular 4-2-5, 3-4, or whatever like that, they're going to be able to gas you. That's all they were doing. And you're like, I'm looking at it on TV. I'm not a coach or anything like that. I've been around coaching. I've coached. And I'm thinking to myself, honestly, you can just probably put your, maybe not the goal line or your short yardage. That's when you go to a bear front. Like, okay, we're going to make sure the A's and B's are covered up. We got good guys that can probably go to the C gaps, man, and let them do it that way, instead of just letting them just run down the field. And you tell your DBs, listen, you guys are going to be 1-on-1. We're going to challenge these guys. I don't care if you get a pass interference, but they're not going to run a quick game on us. And you got a new quarterback, a rookie quarterback, Miami was smart enough to say, okay, we cannot depend on this guy to win the game for us.
Correct.
We have to run the ball. And they just blatantly got up and said, hey, we're going to put in our jumbo package. I mean, they put in a jumbo package.
They ran the same play for 15 plays, basically.
Yeah, that was tough to look at, man. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Wes. I am. I like Wes.
And then you had him 3rd and long twice in that series, and you didn't bring pressure. You had him 3rd and 13. You didn't bring any pressure. You know,
man, when you got a new quarterback like that who haven't saw pressure before, you better Bleav we're going to pick out the weak side of that line, and we're going to overload them like crazy, and we're going to go after them until they say, you know what, no more.
Levon, and I tell you, man, I'm telling you, part of the problem is I think Wes is on the sideline. I think he's not seeing the game the exact same way. I think he needs to be high, and I think he would be a whole lot better defensive coordinator if he was up high.
What did I tell you before?
You've said it. I know.
Who said this the first, even before the first game started? What did I say? And I'm not that guy to be like, well, I told you so. But I was saying, I think Wes, because how smart he is, will see the game better than you seeing it from an eye level, especially if you never played the game. It's really hard to see the game in that fashion. It really is. It is like the game is like, whoa, all over the place. But if you are intellect like Wes is and you put him in the box, he'll see the game better. He'll be like, oh, okay, they're doing this. I see it now. I got a better perspective. Hey, who's ever on the sideline, all right, or when we get halftime adjustments, we're just going to go, maybe we line up in a certain way. It looks like a 4-2-5, and then you shift. And then you shift the guys down to the head up on the guard, head up on the center. Now your holes are, you don't have that many to go through. Now they're restricted. You cut out the A gaps, you cut out the B gaps. Now they're going to, with those big runs, they're going to have to either try to go into the C gap, which we got the linebackers who can straightly get there. We got outside containment, or they're going to have to get their big guys to try to go east and west. You don't want big guys like that in a jumbo package to go forward, because what starts happening, they start getting those 3 yards. Now it turns to 4 yards. Now it turns to 5 or 6 yards. Now you can basically play it all the way to 4th down. You don't have to worry about getting the 1st down on 3rd down. You can get it on 4th down. Yeah, you can go, hey, you know what? If we get anywhere from between 4 to 3 yards, and they're not going to do anything to stop this, we'll keep running. They can't stop it. So
yeah. I remember a game I was covering. It was a Daniel versus Newberry High School playoff game way back in the early 2000s. Then I was covering the game, and Newberry had this great team. They were undefeated. They won their region. They had this electrifying offense where they could score like that, and they would on anybody. Daniel came in here. They were the 4th. They came into Newberry. They were the 4th seed in their region. And I think they were 6-4. Alan Sidderly was the head coach. Daniel's game plan was not let Newberry have the ball. So they ran power football, because Newberry's a little bit smaller team on defense. They ran power football the whole game. And just what you said, they were 3 yards, 2 or 3 yards. On a 4th down, they'd be 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, and they went for it every time. They were 7 for 7 in the game on 4th down. Newberry ran 22 plays, had over 300 yards of offense, scored 3 touchdowns, 3 or 4 touchdowns. But Daniel won the game like 28-24, 28-25, or something like that. I can't remember. But Daniel won the game by a couple points because Daniel ran like 60-something plays to Newberry's 22 and controlled the clock and controlled the game. And they ended up winning the game in a stunning upset. But they did just what Miami did the other night. And that's what it reminded me of. It was just like they just said, okay, well, you're not going to stop it. We're just going to keep running it. And basically Miami bullied Clemson. Yeah, is what they did in that 4th quarter. They bullied Clemson's defense and says, you can't stop us, and we're just going to keep going down the field. We're just going to wear your defensive front down. You say it's so good and everything, but you can't stop us. And they didn't. Miami did do that.
Yeah, the more the game changed, the more it stays the same. The running game is always a factor in football.
Yeah.
Physicality will always be a factor in football. No matter how much they try to take it out, they can't take it out. You cannot take away physicality from the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot take the running game away. And when you get away from the running game, you have some issues. If you can't stop the running game, trust me, I've been out there. When a team can run the ball on you, it takes your manhood. It takes your energy. It takes your drive. And you get to a point where you can know exactly the play. That's why I say sometimes scheme is overrated and it all works. And then sometimes it all doesn't work. You can scheme all you want to, but if I'm lining up and I'm driving you off the ball and we're getting yards, it could be a long day for the defense. You can ask any offensive lineman, no matter what level, what they rather do. They rather line up, put their hands in the dirt, and try to blow you off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they rather do. And if you can't stop it, they're going to be telling I'm sure they were telling the offensive line coach, keep running the ball.
Oh, yeah, their big boys were loving that.
And it was sad to watch. It really was.
It was. I was watching it from the press box down there in Miami Gardens, and it was definitely sad to watch. I thought of you. I thought about you telling me how it takes your manhood away when you're a defensive player, and they're just killing you with the run like that. And that's what happened to Clemson. And then so the game goes in overtime, and you're like, okay, maybe you can get a stop, maybe hold them to a field goal. Both teams did that in the first overtime, and so it's 20-20. So second over, Miami scores a touchdown and goes up, gets the 2-point conversion, and they're up 28-20. And you're thinking, Clemson, oh my goodness, And then Tyler Brown makes a heck of a catch down there at the 2-yard line. But I knew when he didn't get in, when he got tackled, it was short of the goal line. I said, oh my goodness, this is going to be exactly what this whole season has been right here. This moment is going to tell us exactly what this whole season, and it came to fruition, and maybe I spoke it into existence. Who knows?
No, but I think it's a belief.
Yeah, I do too, and I'll get to you in a second because I talked to Will Putnam, the center, after the game about that, and so you get down there and first down, you run up the middle, 0 yards. Second down, you throw a pass that, oh my gosh, was almost intercepted. Like, what were you doing? Should have just thrown out of the back of the end zone. Third down, you run a play up the middle, and Shipley gets 1.5 yards. He's about 6 inches short of the goal line. So it's 4th and 6 inches. And you call timeout, or actually Miami called timeout, and they line up, and it's a typical, and Dabo said it again today in his press conference, it was a straight-up run play. There was no read. There was nothing for Cade to read or nothing, but for some reason, Cade read. And Cade said that he saw something that Miami did defensively. He said he saw the linebacker sit down in the block, and he said he saw the defensive end slant in a little bit, and he thought, okay, I could pull this and run it outside. Well, he didn't account for was the guy, the other linebacker, Flag, I believe was his name, sitting out there with nobody there. Nobody's accounting for him on offense because he's not in the play. He's a guy, by the way this play's supposed to run, they're not even worried about him because he's off on the other side, and he's going to be nowhere where the ball's supposed to go. So it's going to be Will Shipley should just run straight to the end zone, which if Cade gave him the ball, that would have happened. But Cade didn't. He went rogue. And he tried to run the ball outside because of what he saw. And I give Cade Klubnik credit for speaking to the media after the game, explaining what he saw, why he did what he did. And he felt awful because he thought he could score. And, of course, we know it ends up being an 8-yard loss. And Clemson ends up losing the game 28-20. Levon, how stunned were you after what we saw in the Florida State game when the almost a similar thing happened? How stunned were you when he pulled that ball again and started running toward the left? I was like flabbergasted.
It was because you could see that the play was designed to go to the right. Shipley's going to get it. It was going to be a score, touchdown.
Yeah, and the push was great. It was going to score.
But I also know when you get in that formation where the quarterback and the running back is beside each other, what you do is you tell the inside backers cross read it. And what I mean by cross read it, if I'm the right inside linebacker, I'm keeping my eye on the guy that's to my left. If I'm the left inside linebacker, I'm keeping my eye on the guy to the right. Because what they want you to do is they want you what we call full flow. They want everybody's eyes to go to the left, especially that backside linebacker, because they're thinking that defensive end is the only one, and now you got a chance. So what happened was the right inside linebacker read Kupnik, and then because he knows I don't have to be fast because all my other teammates are over there on my left side. I need to stay back and be able to help the defensive end because the defensive end is the one that's kind of in a question mark area. Do I flow down or do I stay with the quarterback? So he's right. He saw that defensive end crashing down. But what he did not see was that right inside linebacker staying in position and waiting for just that exact thing to happen. And that was a great play. It's really something simple. If you're on defense and people run the RPO, you cross read it. You wait for the guy to come to your side. And if the quarterback pulls the ball, you got him. We did that same scheme when I was at Seattle. And we were playing against Russell Wilson, and that's all they did was RPO. That guy that was opposite from Russell Wilson did not move. He let the play fake happen, and if they gave the ball, he came late. And so that's exactly what Miami did. Yeah, he saw that defensive end crash down, but he did not account for that inside linebacker to take his place. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep, as in ball game at that point, and
sometimes you got to take those decisions. And that's what they did. The kid is trying to make plays. I get it. I think I'm not going to give up on Cade. I think the kid has some ability. He makes some plays. When we get in the red zone though, and we're at the 1 yard line, you got to make sure and emphasize to him.
Yeah,
give the ball off. Do not try to make a play.
Well, here's why I think he didn't say this, but here's what I think his thinking was. Earlier in the game, what happened? Will Shipley fumbled, right?
Right.
Earlier on that possession, that series of downs, what happened? He got 0 yards.
Right.
Then he got 1.5 yards. He didn't get in the end zone. So 3 times Will Shipley got the ball inside the 1 yard line in this game, and 3 times he failed to score. I think that subconsciously was in Cade's head. And subconsciously, I think he didn't say this is why he did it. I'm just saying subconsciously, I think this is probably what played a factor in why he did it. Because I think if Will Shipley scores earlier in the game or anything like that they have where they make success on third short or whatever, you probably see him give the ball off because he's feeling confident there. But he wasn't feeling confident, and he saw what he saw and because he had that self-doubt, that's when it creeped in. And the self-doubt comes from what Will Putnam was talking about. And this is what I asked. I said, Will, do you think – this is Will Putnam, the center for Clemson. I said, do you think that you guys are just thinking too much when you get inside the 5 yard line? He says, absolutely we are. He said, because in the week, all during the week, we practice it, we execute it, and everything's good. He says, so that's why you practice. So it's a mental rep. It's a muscle memory, if you will. And he's like, so we get into the games and we get down there, and because we fumbled twice at Duke and didn't score, because you had a couple of other games where you got inside the 10 yard line and you failed to score, because you already earlier in this game against Miami got to the 1 yard line and didn't score. He's like, it's in our head. He says, and when football players start thinking, nothing good comes from it. And he hit the nail on the head of why Clemson struggles in the red zone.
It's a lack of trust as well. Because what happens is really good teams, they are going to continue with the plan. Because they understand that the plan works. We've been successful. Let's not panic. Even if we don't get it. Okay, no big deal. Next time we're going to get it. Those teams that are kind of on the fence, not really quite sure of themselves, not really trusting what's been coached or said to them, start taking matters into their own hands. And that's when you're putting a spotlight on yourself. The best way to win is to forget about yourself. Forget about your stats. Do what helps the team win. When you start doing that, you start making more plays. It's amazing how it happens. I can tell you a story. When I was the year we went to the Super Bowl, we ended up we're 3-4, and I told myself, you know what? I don't care if I make a tackle, as long as I contribute to this team winning. That's all that matters to me. Guess what, Will? My individual stats went up.
Of course they did.
My mindset was, I just want to win games. Forget about me and my personal stats or being a star or whatever. That next year, I ended up being a Pro Bowl player because I started thinking more so about us winning than about me personally. So if you think about this team, guys are trying to do too much. They're trying to take over, and that means they're being selfish.
Yep.
And when you end up being selfish, you take the shortcut of doing things. You're not thinking about the whole purpose. You're not thinking about the team. You're thinking about yourself and how you can shine. So our guys got to get over the fact that it ain't about them shining. It's about the team winning.
Yeah.
You got to start thinking about winning. What can you do to help you win? It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 tackles or you have 15 tackles. What can I do to help us win football games? And normally that starts with your fundamentals, and it also starts to get down to you doing your job.
I know some people I saw on the message on Facebook there said that they thought Cade was running an RPO there. No, he was not running an RPO. That was a straight run call. Dabo confirmed that again today. Dabo confirmed that after the game. Cade Klubnik confirmed it after the game. That was a straight run call. It was not an RPO. He just went rogue. That's what happened on that play. He went rogue because he didn't, as we just talked about, he didn't trust himself. He didn't trust the call. He didn't trust his teammates, all the above. And that's what happened there. And
it was an RPO because in that situation, if you do something like that as a play action, normally you would have somebody in the route. Right? You would have a tight end, delay block, and then go out to the flat. You had nobody. That's why you knew when he did that, I was like, he did it on his own.
Yep.
He did it on his own.
He admitted he thought
there was no option for him to go to.
That's right. It was a straight up him just going rogue. Now, he said he did that against Wake Forest, and it worked. The touchdown he did against Wake Forest, he said that was the same thing. He did it against Wake Forest. Dabo even said today, yeah, if it worked, you're like, what? It was awesome. He said, but it didn't work.
You get the wrap.
Yeah, and it's like you said, he didn't pay attention to that linebacker, and Flag was sitting out there, and he, like you said, Flag was doing his job, and that shows you what it's like when one guy's doing his job and the other guy's not. Because if Cade Klubnik does his job and hands that ball to Will Shipley, it's a touchdown.
But the thing too with Cade though, and I would tell him this. I'm like, okay, if you do that, like I would tell linebackers, if I ever coach linebackers, if you go underneath a block and you make that play, great job. But if you go underneath that block and don't make that play, and they go into the sidelines, you're getting a good cussing from it. And I'm gonna put you on Front Street, and I'm gonna tell the coaches we don't teach that technique. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yep.
And so if I'm Jared, the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, I'll be like, I don't know what he was thinking. We didn't draw that. Now, if he would have scored, you'd be like, that a boy. That is, hey, good heads up, great job. But if you don't make that play, you're gonna get dog cussed, and we're gonna put you on Front Street. And that's what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what
play. You damn sure better make sure you get in the end zone.
Yeah. Mickens, Lyndon Mickens, he said if he did it before, then Miami had the tape and gave him the look to pull the ball. Absolutely. That's probably what happened. That is probably what happened because he admitted he did it before and did it in the previous game. So you're probably absolutely 100% correct.
And like I said, you tell your linebacker, you tell the linebacker away from the flow, which means the linebacker that the flow is going away from, all the action is going away from him. He's in no rush to get over there because all his teammates over there, they're there to stop that front side play. He's there to stop that backside play. And that's how you play it. And that's how you stop that. And then you don't really, if you don't, in that play, and you don't send somebody out to the flats, it's easy for the linebacker. Now, if it was an RPO, you'll have somebody going to the flats. Now that linebacker has to make a decision. Do I cover this guy or do I go run after the quarterback? He's in a no man's land right there. But that play made it so easy. That's the easiest play a linebacker can make. You got to be, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to have to be Michael Vick or Hurt or somebody, Tyler Murray.
I don't even know if Michael Vick makes that play.
You're going to have to be somebody who is lightning fast.
Right.
Especially when a guy has a good angle on you.
Maybe Lamar Jackson makes that play.
Huh?
Maybe Lamar Jackson makes that play. Matter of fact, Lamar Jackson probably does make that play.
Jackson now, maybe Lamar Jackson back in the Heisman Trophy days would make that play.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But other than that, not a lot of guys are going to make that play. Not a lot of quarterbacks are going to make that play.
Exactly.
Cam Newton could maybe make that play.
Who?
Cam Newton, maybe.
Cam Newton's also got the size to lower his shoulder and run over a linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a bad play by the kid. It really was.
And he owned it. And I want, before we get over to NC State, I want to stress that he owned it. He came out, and trust me, I've done this a long time. I've seen players after making a play like that not come and talk to the media. They don't want nothing to do with us. They don't want to talk about it. And so whether it be basketball, football, baseball, I've seen it many, many times where player makes a mistake, but he doesn't come out and talk to the media and own it. Cade Klubnik came out and talked to us. He explained what he saw. He took all the questions that were fired at him about that play and about the way he played. And I give the young man complete credit for doing that because that told me a lot about his character, who he is as a young man. And while I'm with you, Levon, I think he's going to learn from this. It's going to make him a better player down the road. And the thing I also like what he said, he came back Monday, Levon. He just talked to us late Saturday night, almost midnight Saturday night. At 10 o'clock Monday morning, he was in the media room talking to the media again about it. You know how many times I've seen that happen at Clemson? Never. I've never seen a kid go from talking to us on Saturday night. We're good. He talked to us on Saturday night. We don't need him on Monday. He came and talked to us on Monday too. And we were all stunned. We're like, man, we're getting Cade Klubnik? Wow, that's kind of surprising. I didn't think I'd get him after I just had him after the game, and he addressed it on Saturday night, but he's going to address it more now after watching the tape and everything else. I'm like, kudos to the kid again. I mean, that tells you a lot about him, and I want to give him credit for that and let him know as a media member, I appreciate him being that way, him understanding, I need to face the music and I need to address it and, explain what I saw and what happened and just own it and move on to the next game. And that's what he did. So kudos to him.
I think the best thing you can do when you make a mistake like that kind of costs you the game is to take ownership of it and say, hey, it was my fault. It's something that I did. I'll get better from this. And what you do is as a quarterback, you apologize to your team, and you tell them, hey, that was my bad. And that's when you start building that rapport again with your teammates and with your coaching staff. Hey, if the play is called this, I'm just going to run the play. Whatever they call, I'm going to run.
Right.
And I'm going to run it to the best of my ability. And that's all you can do because you got to depend on your other teammates to get it done as well. You can't get so caught up that you're trying to do others' jobs or you're trying to make up for something that happened before. You got to forget about what happened before and go forward.
Exactly.
And go because if you start doing that, people won't trust you. Coaches won't trust you. Players won't trust you. And the worst thing you can lose is trust that you're always trying to build and always trying to sustain. So, I like the kid. I think he has ability. I've seen him do some really good things. He just has to understand that he doesn't have to do all things, that he got to depend on his teammates to do it. He can't block. He can't catch the ball. Only thing he can do is try to get it out there, run the play that is called until he gets to a point that the coaches are okay with him doing his own thing. He's not there at all at that level where, okay, Cade, do your own thing. Show us what you got. Nope. He's going to have to build that trust all the way back up. I wouldn't even give him an RPO for him to even decide to make a. It's either, especially in the red zone, we're going to either hand that thing off or a play action pass, or we just going to let you sit back and throw the ball.
Right.
We're not going to really give you any choice in the map.
Well, and that's what they were doing there. But you talked about it, how it's good that he owned it and he moved forward. So with that, we're gonna let him move forward, and we're gonna talk now about Clemson at NC State this Saturday, 2:00 at Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh. The game's gonna be on the CW. So I hope you guys have the CW. So if you're on DirecTV, that's channel 62. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to get it. Trust me, a YouTube channel. I got YouTube now TV, and you can get the CW on there. I was watching I Bleav it was the Virginia game last week. By the way, before we get too fast here, Levon, let's give Tony Elliott a shout out, right? His first big win as the head coach at the University of Virginia, knocking out number 10 North Carolina. I don't know if you know this, Levon. It was the first ever top 10 road win in University of Virginia history. How about that for Tony?
Yeah, man, that's amazing. It really is. For him, especially after all the struggles that they had last year, even going into this year, the tragic death, the tragic shooting, for Tony to go out there and play the top 10 North Carolina Tar Heels and to win on the road, that is big time. But we kind of felt that North Carolina was going to break at some point in time, just not against Virginia.
They are who we thought they were.
What was that?
They are who we thought they were.
We both knew that at some point in time, North Carolina, they're going to break.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't think it was going to be against Virginia.
No, we didn't.
I guarantee you that. So great job on. This is something you can build on.
Absolutely. So congrats to Tony on a big win, and hopefully, like you said, Levon, he can build on it. As for this game, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney will again attempt to pass College Football Hall of Fame coach Frank Howard for sole possession of Clemson's all-time lead in coaching wins on Saturday. Interesting, Saturday's contest will feature two head coaches, each attempting to rewrite their respective schools' record books. Coach Swinney, as we mentioned, going for win number 166 to become Clemson's all-time career leader in wins at Clemson. Well, North Carolina State head coach Dave Doran enters the game one victory shy of tying Earl Edwards for 77 wins as the winningest coach in Wolfpack history. So a little interesting, I guess, saga, if you will, that one guy's going to get a record and one guy's going to tie a record depending on what happens here, Levon. But in between, there's going to be a football game, and it's a football game that both teams need. If you see the scroll going across the thing, it's the ACC standings. You see Clemson sitting in 8th place at 2-3 in the ACC. You're seeing NC State sitting in 9th place, 1-2 in the ACC. Both teams are 4-3 overall. Now you're trying to position for whatever bowl game you can get. You want to try to get the best you can. You want to also try to position yourself to at least get up into the top echelons of the conference and not be near the bottom. So, I mean, this is a big game, and I'm interested, Levon. This is what I'm interested to see. First of all, Clemson hasn't lost back-to-back games in a regular season since 2011. Clemson hasn't lost back-to-back ACC games in back-to-back weeks since 2010. Okay, so you're seeing some situations here where it hadn't happened in a while. How does Clemson get its mind right after what just happened last week, and knowing that they can't play for an ACC championship now? They're not going to play for a college football playoff game. They're not going to play for a New Year's Six bowl game. All those things that they had at the beginning of the year are gone. The only goal left on the table now for Clemson is to win the state championship and win its last game. That's the only two goals left. How did they react to that, Levon? You've been in these situations in the NFL and at Clemson. How does your mind work knowing when all your goals are off the table?
Good. Now I can just go out there and play football the way I know how to play football. You start putting all that pressure on yourself. Then you start playing a little tense. Then you start playing like you start thinking. And I say, man, forget all that. If you're Clemson Tigers, man, you're fighting everybody you play now. You're going to go out there. You're going to tape up your fists. It's going to be a cage match, and you're fighting everybody you play. You don't care about style points. You don't care about anything. You just want to oppose your will on another man's soul. That's how you got to look at it. You got to go out there saying, like, we're beating everybody.
Right.
And if you don't go out there with that mentality, then you don't need to be playing on the football team. You got to, if it's a 50-50 ball, I'm catching it. If I got to make this one-on-one tackle, I'm making this one-on-one tackle. If I got to gain an inch without fumbling the ball, I'm going to hold on to the ball and I'm going to score. If I got to block this guy in front of me, he's blocked. And everybody has to think like that. It can't be the majority. It can't be just the defense or just the offense. The collective team has got to think like that. If I got to hit a 40-yard field goal to win the game, and it's an away game, then I got to kick this 40-yard field goal to win the game. Mm-hmm. I can't get any better than that, man. That's common sense, dog. That's just from the streets.
Hey, and by the way, there's a trophy on the line. This is the Textile Bowl.
Whatever, man. We'll win that too.
Yeah, go win the game. Go win the Textile Bowl. It's a rivalry game. Clemson doesn't like NC State. NC State doesn't like Clemson. It's be honest, guys. Does anybody like Raleigh? No. Clemson people don't. I can tell you that. Nobody likes Carter Finley Stadium. Levon, you played there. No. I remember 1990. See if you remember this. I'm sure you do. You guys go up there and play during State Fair Week, and I Bleav it was Dexter Davis. A must-win guy for you guys because you just come off, I think, a hard loss at Virginia. I Bleav it was either at Virginia. No, it was at Georgia Tech. You came off that hard loss against Georgia Tech, and you guys had lost. Now you weren't going to win the ACC and all that stuff. And y'all kind of played through the motions there for about a quarter and a half. And then I remember NC State fumbling around midfield. And they just changed the rules that season where a defensive player could pick up a ball as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage and run it. You know what I'm saying? And NC State fumbled the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Dexter Davis, I remember, it was in the pile. He picks it up, and he takes it like 50-something yards to the house. You guys end up winning that game 17-10 because of that fumble return. And it was a big win because it allowed you guys to go on to a 10-2 season. Do you remember that? And does this kind of remind you a little bit of that?
It does. It really does. And that's why I'm talking really passionate about it, because I've been through that situation where, okay, well, you can't win the ACC, national championship, hopes are out the window. Now what do you play for? And it has to be personal pride in the program. It has to be, when I look back 20 years from now, I can say, like, man, we were in this situation, but our team pulled together and we did this, man, and it was glorious. It may not get any attention or whatever like that, but you can always go back and think on it and be like, man, I'm proud of what we did. Because we went through that situation too, and we end up going to the Gator Bowl one year and beating West Virginia down.
Yep.
And I mean, I feel like you got to play for the pride of not just your team, but also your self-pride.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a. That's what this game reminds me of, as they go up there, an afternoon game. So it's going to be kind of the same. The only thing is, it's not going to be a fair going on. I think they had the fair a couple weeks ago, so there won't be any state fair. It might be homecoming. I don't know. Maybe it's homecoming for them. They were off last week and on the road the week before that. So maybe
it doesn't matter. It's not even about. It shouldn't even be about NC State.
It's not.
It should be about the Clemson Tigers and what they can do. Because honestly, you take some of those mistakes away, and you're sitting there undefeated. But you can't. So you deal with it. You understand it. You go back to the drawing board. And you go out there and you play some ball.
Yeah.
I think that's what they need to do. Play ball, man. You know?
Before we get go, and we're going to start talking about our pick six here, I want to mention this, though, because I love good defense. And I love watching, and I know you appreciate this, I love watching great linebackers. Peyton Wilson at NC State is a fun linebacker to watch. Dude, I am so looking forward to watching him play. Dabo even mentioned it in the press conference today. Like, he's just, when you turn on the tape and you watch, you see number 11 everywhere. You see him making plays everywhere. He's in the backfield, or he's chasing a guy down on the sideline. He's going sideline to sideline. I respect watching a great defensive player play the game. And, man, Clemson is going to see one of the best in the country with Peyton Wilson this weekend at Carter Finley Stadium. That dude, that is a dude, man. That guy is everywhere.
He can definitely play. And I always say, when you got a great player like that, go after him. Don't try to run away from him or anything like that. He's just gonna outrun the play. Go after him. Target him and be like, hey, let's see what you can do straight up. But we've been so bad on the offensive line lately, you kind of wonder if we can possibly do that. You know, you got to say, I mean, maybe put a fullback there. I don't know. You got to go after him.
He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for Clemson. He's been a problem for everybody. So he's going to be a problem. But, man, I tell you what, man, I hope when he gets drafted that he's wearing black and gold next year, man. I love that guy playing for our Steelers. I would love him to play for our Steelers. He is fun to watch. So keep an eye out for Peyton Wilson, number 11 for that NC State defense. He is the real deal. All right, Levon, we're going to get it.
Speaking of Clemson,
we
speaking of Pittsburgh, a couple of years ago, we told the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft who in the first round?
Who did they need to draft as far as
they needed a running back at the time.
They needed a running back, yeah. So, yeah.
And who were we saying that you should draft?
Travis Etienne. Yep. Look what he's done in the NFL. What was that, 3 games now? He scored two touchdowns for 3 straight games. First player in NFL history to do that.
He's not a Pittsburgh power back.
No, he's got speed, though.
Have you watched and he got power.
He's got power. He's got like Walter Payton power. Yeah.
Travis Etienne.
His favorite player is Walter Payton. That's all you need to know who Travis Etienne is. If your favorite player is Walter Payton.
You love the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you missed out on that one.
Okay, people don't think he's that power. I love how Travis Etienne's best touchdown to me. It isn't the 90-yard touchdown against Louisville. It isn't the 89-yard touchdown against Georgia Tech. It isn't whatever touchdown. You know which one's the best touchdown that he scored in his whole Clemson career?
I think the Ohio State one.
The Ohio State game where he runs outside and he takes the linebacker and just shoves them to the side from the 4-yard line and just throws that elbow out there and shoves them to the side and then hits the safety and then walks into the end zone. That is my favorite touchdown by Travis Etienne.
One of my favorite touchdowns of all time as well.
Yeah, he is.
We're on that page. Bro.
We are, man. We are because we love defense and we love hard, strong running games, and that's why and Travis Etienne can do that, and it's my favorite touchdown of his. I told him that. I said that's my favorite because he just uses that forearm just like his idol Walter Payton would do. Just take that forearm and just hit somebody with you. You know,
and the guy had it. I mean, it was the guy had a good angle. Everything had him.
Yeah.
And he just like take some of this with you, and then the rest of y'all can get some as well.
And the thing is that sucks though. He's going to play our Steelers this week, and but hey, maybe our boy T.J. Watt comes out there and does his thing. How about that interception?
That was a great interception.
Oh my! You talk about he like totally the play was designed because after the game they were talking about it, and the play was designed to basically he was suckering Matthew Stafford. So they made it look like he was dropping into zone coverage when the whole time he was taking the crossing route the whole time, and he goes over there just boop. I mean, how many outside backers can you do that with?
It's hard for those guys to do that. It really is. But I'm telling you, man, he is some type of athlete. I remember watching him at Wisconsin, thinking
his hands. Look at the way he caught that ball.
Yeah, he reminds me. You're gonna laugh, but Mike Vrabel was that kind of way too. Mike Vrabel was that athletic, could run.
I'm not gonna laugh. I saw Mike Vrabel play.
Mike Vrabel was a really good player. He didn't get in when we were there, but he went to New England and did well. But he kind of reminds me as far as being a crafty player, not ability-wise.
Yeah, because TJ's got the ability and the craftiness.
TJ got the ability and he's crafty. Mike was very crafty. And Mike can do a lot of things. So to see TJ do that, man, there's not a lot of pass rushers, outside linebackers that I've seen do that in quite some time.
Nah, that was fun to see. And I love watching defense and linebackers do stuff. So that was awesome, man. Excuse me. All right, well, we're going to move over and talk about our pick six. Our pick six games, and we'll start with the cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida. Number one, Georgia versus Florida, 3:30 p.m. CBS. Georgia is getting minus 14.5 points, so Florida's getting 14.5 points. Levon, what you think on this one? Remember, Georgia's there without its best player, by the way. Bowers is not going to play. Tight end.
Yeah, I'm going to take Florida in this one.
You're going to take Florida in this game. Yeah, I think I am too. That 14 points.
I don't think Florida's going to win, but I take them in points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think without having Brock Bowers, their best weapon in a big rivalry game, Florida's playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing better. I think Georgia wins the game, but it's not going to be 14. I think I could see them winning by 7 or 10 points, and that's what I think is going to happen in this one. So I'm with you. Give me Florida plus the 14.5 there. All right, so we'll go to our second game now. Number 8, Oregon at number 13, Utah. 3:30 p.m. Fox. Oregon is a minus 7-point favorite. What says you, Levon Kirkland?
I say Oregon. I do. I like what Oregon is doing. I mean, that was a tough loss against the Washington Huskies. I think they're going to come back ready to go, more focused. But Utah is always tough now. They're always tough. I mean,
they got a great defense.
They play a brand of football that both me and you like. That defensive style of football,
physical. Yep.
No, I'm going to give it to Oregon this time.
I'm with you on this. I think Oregon can also play physical. I think they've showed that. They had the brain fart game the week before, like Clemson did this week, where you wonder why in the world they go for it when their defense is playing so well. I'm with you on this. I think Utah just doesn't have a quarterback. Their quarterback's out definitely for the year now. They know, and they've struggled on offense. Yeah, they scored 34 points against Southern Cal last week, but everybody can score on Southern Cal. So, Clemson could score on Southern Cal. I really believe that. So we're going to go ahead and go. I'm going to with you. I'm going to go give me Oregon with the minus 7.5 there. I think they're going to cover. All right, so we're going to move on down. Big game in the ACC this week. It'd be bigger for Clemson if Clemson would have won last week because North Carolina lost. Louisville lost the week before. Duke lost last week to Florida State. Everything was setting up for Clemson until it lost to Miami, and that ruined it. So it's all over. So number 20, Duke at number 18, Louisville, 3:30 kickoff, ESPN. Louisville is a 4-point favorite. Keep in mind, Duke quarterback Riley Leonard is questionable for this game. Remember, he got hurt again in the Florida State game. What do you think is going to happen here?
I'll take Louisville with the points then because I don't think Duke is – I feel like Duke has much improved on defense. Man, they don't look like Duke on defense. It looks like a team like maybe – I wouldn't say Miami, but they look different.
They look good.
They look really good on defense. I think, though, without Riley in the game, they just don't have a good shot of winning.
I think Duke would have won that game last week if Riley Leonard doesn't get hurt in the second quarter.
I think so, man, because
they're leading. They're leading at halftime. The defense is doing everything you need to do against Florida State at that point.
Yeah, but it's all about, football is a game that really depends on every unit depends on each other.
Yeah.
If one of those units are very weak, it's usually tougher to win games. Not that you can't win games, it's just tougher.
It's just tougher to do it. So I'm with you, though. I think if Riley Leonard plays, I'm taking Duke to win the game outright.
Right.
But if he's not playing, I'm going to go ahead and give me Louisville minus the 4 there. So, all right, next game. We go to the SEC. We go number 21 Tennessee at Kentucky, 7 p.m. kickoff from Lexington. ESPN will televise it. Tennessee, 3.5-point favorite on the road here.
Yeah, I'm going Kentucky.
You're going to go Kentucky. You think the running game for Kentucky can get going? And Tennessee's pretty good at stopping the run. Last week's, I'm with you to a certain extent because if Tennessee has a hangover from what happened last week with Alabama where they outplayed Alabama, but there was Clemson fans can relate to this. They're driving. They're going to go tie the game up. Quarterback strip sack, fumble, they scoop it up and run it in for a touchdown. Trying to obviously change the whole complexion of that game. How does Tennessee bounce back from that when a game where I thought they outplayed Alabama again, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is about college football. Sometimes you're dealing with younger men, and sometimes you wonder how do they handle emotional games after the fact, and especially if the game didn't really go their way. Mm-hmm. Normally, a lot of times, sometimes they bounce back. Sometimes they can dig themselves in a deeper hole. So that's why I'm going with Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go. I think I'm just going to go with the hangover effect, and I think Kentucky comes out and wins this game straight up and, really kind of mucks up that SEC East even more where it just comes down to Georgia and Missouri for that SEC East title, which will be played in a few weeks, by the way. All right, we'll move on and we'll bounce over to the Pac-12. DJ Uiagalelei and number 11 Oregon State at Arizona, 10:30 kickoff on ESPN. Oregon State is a 3.5-point favorite. What do you think?
Man, I'm gonna just go with my man DJ, man. And it doesn't seem like we almost owe DJ an apology. He's playing so much better, man. He's playing well. I tip my hat off to the kid. So that's the only reason why I'm taking Oregon in the state in this game.
Okay, I see that. And yes,
or anything like that. I just want DJ to do well.
Yeah, and I think DJ has played better, but I mean his numbers aren't much different than they were at Clemson right now. Right. The only difference is DJ's not being asked to go win the games.
Right.
And he's playing within the system. The system I think is more suited for him. It's this game. They rely on their 2 running backs and that running game and that big old offensive line that they have. And they asked DJ to do what he needs to do. Hey, is it coincidental that Clemson at this time last year led the nation in red zone scoring red zone touchdowns and red zone percentage. And
that'll be great.
Now Oregon State leads it. You know why that's interesting? Because DJ Uyunglele is 6'4", 250 pounds, and he is a hard guy to stop when he's running downhill. And Oregon State that's why they're really good. Man. Yeah, that's why they're really good in the red zone, because that's a big weapon to have in a red zone. And Clemson used it, and Oregon's using it. Oregon State's using it. However, I'm putting in a however. Arizona, have you watched this team play?
I haven't watched.
They should have beat Southern Cal. They should have beat Washington. They should have beaten. There's another team they played. I can't remember who it was, but they should have. It was Utah, I think. They should have beat them. They are real close to just knocking off somebody. They play really good defense. They play good offense. They got a dynamic quarterback. They held Washington to 15 points last week, Levon.
Wow.
At Washington. Okay.
If this was a fifth, they would all be drunk, my man.
Now, the only problem was they only scored 7 themselves. But I think in this kind of game, Oregon State kind of matches up with them. I think Arizona matches up well with them. I'm going to go with Arizona straight up in this one. I think they knock off Oregon State, upset here.
Really?
I think Arizona's due, man. They're 4-3. They've been close. They've got all these close calls against ranked opponents. Okay. I think this is the perfect matchup for them. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Arizona getting the upset.
I don't know if I'm going to stay up for that 10:30 ESPN.
No, I'll check it the next morning on Sports Center. I'm with you. I'm not doing that. All right. Our final one of the day. I wasn't letting you get out of here without this, man. Come on. Clemson at NC State, 2:00 kickoff on the CW network. The Tigers are a 10-point favorite. That surprises me. Clemson's a 10-point favorite at 4-3.
Well, I could see Clemson winning this game, but I'm going to take the points with NC State.
Yes.
Because they're playing home. The two teams are similar in a lot of ways. So I'm just not trusting Clemson just yet. I feel like they have the potential to run off the rest of these games. I really do. But they have got to earn my trust. And
Adam Randall said it best today. He says, if we win the turnover battle, I guarantee we'll win all 5 games. He didn't say, I think we will or we should. He said, I guarantee if we win the turnover battle, we'll win all 5 games and we'll win out.
He should just say, we're going to win all 5 games.
Right. That's just basically what he's saying. So, I give him credit for that. I give him credit for that. However, I'm with you. I don't trust this team yet. I think this game, I don't know what the money line is on this. If it's whatever it is, take the under. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that because, like I said last week with Miami and Clemson, it was 48.5, and I said there ain't no way those two teams are getting up to 48.5 points. And, in regulation, they tied at 17, so I was right. And then after the second overtime, it was 20-20. I was still right. And then I was still right after this third overtime. Second overtime. So that tells you it was 28-20. This one, take the under, Levon. Take the under.
Yes.
And also NC State covers, but Clemson wins in an ugly defensive kind of game. Clemson 10, NC State 6 is what I'm saying. This is going to be ugly. It's going to be a hard slobber knocker. It's going to be a defensive defense. Both defenses making plays. So Clemson's great linebackers. They're a great linebacker. I think it's going to be – me and you will enjoy it, but all those pretty people out there that like the offense stuff and touchdowns, they're not going to like it.
The may not always enjoy those kind of games.
The what?
The casual fan.
The casual fan, yes.
The fan that's thinking, should I go shopping or watch the football game? Or should I go to this wedding or go to I watch this football game? Me and you is no choice. We watching the football game. What do you mean there's a wedding at 2 p.m. on Saturday?
I ain't at the wedding.
Are you out your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell anybody who knows me, don't. If you want me to come to your wedding, don't put it during football season.
Why would you do that, though? I know it's wedding season, though. I guess the weather and everybody wants to be outside. It's not. Come on, man.
They don't love football.
They don't love football like that.
No.
If they love football like that, they would never schedule their wedding
Yeah. It's like when you say you're going to diet and you're going to eat lettuce and tomatoes. I'm like, no, listen. And I tell anybody at my trainers when I go on a diet, listen, I love to eat. So you're going to have to find a diet that allows me to continue to eat a lot. It may be lower calories, but I have to eat a lot because I have a passion for food.
Yes.
And taking that passion away from me is not going to happen. So you have to figure a way. Well, I'm the same way with football. I have a passion for football. I want to watch it constantly. And you can't say, well, you can go to the wedding and watch it whenever you can. No. No, I'm not going to the wedding at all. I'm watching football all day. That's what I'm doing. So I only get so many Saturdays a year.
So, Will, if football season had a game on like from Sunday to Sunday, would you watch every day?
If there was a football game on from Sunday to Sunday, yes, absolutely. I have been known to do that.
It kind of tells you our mindset.
Yeah.
I will watch it every day. I mean, honestly, if it would go all year long, I would probably watch games.
I watch it every day, 365. My brother's like, dude, are you going to do anything but just watch football? I'm like, no. Why do I want to do anything? This is what I want to do.
What is he talking about? I like your brother and everything, but what is he talking about?
Yeah, right? I mean, what are you talking about, Kev? I mean, dude, I'm going to watch football. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm going to watch football, you know? So I do. And I'll watch it like last week or the week before when Clemson was off, man. I watched all day Saturday. I watched all day Sunday.
Especially on Saturday, man. I'm telling you, during the football season, I'm not going to really do much.
I don't either.
But wake up and watch football. Other than that, I'm not doing much.
I had an ex-girlfriend, and she was because I work on Saturdays because I cover Clemson, so I'm working all day Saturday, and she's like, so Sunday she was thinking like I wasn't going to watch football, and of course, who plays on Sundays, Levon?
Black and gold.
The black and gold, right? The Steelers. So she's like, I want to go to the mountains, and I'm like, okay, you go ahead, have fun. She's like, you don't want to go with me? I'm like, no, I don't want to go with you. She's like, why? I said, because the Steelers are playing. She's like, you can watch the Steelers anytime. I'm like, no, I can't. No, I cannot watch the Steelers anytime. That time is a 16-week season. Say what?
You can go to the mountains anytime.
You can go to the mountains anytime you want, but you cannot watch the Steelers anytime you want. They only play at that time 16 times a year.
We have what we call a football season.
Exactly. And during the football season, that's what I said. This is probably why she's my ex-girlfriend.
They play here, and I can't catch it.
This is probably why she's my ex-girlfriend, because I said during the football season, I watched the Steelers on Sundays.
Without her.
Right. During the football season, I said, I watch the Steelers on Sundays. This is what I do. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Well, I don't think she liked it because, like I said, she's my ex-girlfriend.
Well, go to the mountains then. Beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit the rocks. Literally.
Anyway, we appreciate you guys that hung around with us the whole time, even when we started talking stuff about other stuff at the end of the show. But we appreciate it. We do that. Me and Levon do that from time to time. But we had a good time. We had a good time with you guys joining us. Appreciate all your comments on Facebook and YouTube and all that. We appreciate you guys joining in on the show. And Levon sees the things where you've told him he needs to be the new DC and all that stuff. And that's great. We appreciate you guys throwing that out there. And yes, my favorite CJ touchdown was Georgia Tech game as well.
My best DC job was probably NCAA 14. That was a great DC.
Hey, I just won the Super Bowl recently on Madden, and I shut down Josh Allen in that Buffalo defense, man.
I can see you doing it, Will.
And I shut him down, dude, and got us a good 21-17 victory to go to the Super Bowl. So, and we won the Super Bowl too, beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So, hey, I am a heck of a DC when I play Madden. I'm a heck of a DC. I'm a heck of an OC as well, but I look more. I get more. I have more fun shutting the other team down more than anything.
I like playing on Madden and things like that. I like playing like really younger kids. They're like in high school and lower. You know why?
What's that?
They like to go deep.
Yeah,
that's all we do is go deep. And I just send a corner blitz every time to track down their really fast quarterback.
I do the same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
You bring the fire. You bring a fire blitz coming off the edge, and you just sack them every time.
Yeah. And then because all of those kids, they normally scramble to their right. They always scramble to their right.
So where do you bring the corner blitz?
Yeah,
From the right.
Yeah, come on.
From the left, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, from the left. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they run right into the blitz.
They run right into the blitz. Like, come on. And guess what? They're going to go for it too.
And then they give you the ball. And I love it when they do like Clemson did last week and they just refuse not to play, a run blitz. So I'll just say, well, if you're not going to run blitz me, I'm just going to go 4, 5, 6, 7 yards every time on you. And I just run up the middle. And they're like, come on, you're not going to give me the ball back. I'm like, yep, you pretty much got that right. That's how you play the game. I'm playing to win, not playing to give you points.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you got to teach kids the tough lessons. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And I love doing it on Madden.
Me too.
All right, man. It was fun. Levon is great, man. So appreciate you guys again. So for Levon Kirkland, I am Will Vandervort. We'll talk to you next week on Bleav in Clemson Football with Levon Kirkland.